Hi all and welcome to the season 2 episode 37 of the Emberhart podcast. Let us waste no time and jump right into it. When behavior is only the surface. Reflections from Good Inside by Becky Kennedy. Dear Amelia Emberhart, I have been reading Good Inside and some of the ideas shifted how I think about parenting, not in a dramatic throw everything out way, but in a quieter realization. Maybe behavior is rarely the real story. The book proposes something simple but powerful. Behavior is a window into a bigger story. A child's reaction is a clue. It might point to insecurity, overwhelm, fear, or disconnection. When we focus only on changing behavior, we may get short term compliance, but we miss the deeper change that helps in many situations later. Instead of reacting with control, we try curiosity. That was a big reaction. Ha! But we are good people. Something big must be happening. I'm curious to understand. Let us solve this together. This shift moves parenting away from control and toward relationship building. The goal becomes building what the book calls connection capital. The stronger the relationship, the easier everything else becomes. Even common tools like timeouts illustrate this tension. Research may show that they can change behavior quickly, but are we measuring the right outcome? Immediate behavior change is not always the same as long-term emotional growth. A powerful example is what happens after poor behavior. Instead of treating the moment as a failure, it becomes a chance for a constructive conversation. Sometimes this even leads to creating a future strategy together. Something playful like a secret handshake that signals when things are getting out of control. The hidden power of shame. One of the most eye-opening sections in the book deals with shame. Shame is not simply I did something bad. It is deeper. This part of me is not connectable. No one wants to be with this version of me. When children feel shame, they do not move toward repair. They freeze or hide. Shame carries the ultimate threat, abandonment. Being alone means danger. This explains something that often confuses parents. A child who feels shame may struggle to apologize or tell the truth, not because they do not care, but because admitting it would confirm their deepest fear, that they are fundamentally bad. The book suggests that parents need to become shame detection specialists. When shame appears, correction usually stops working. Instead, the focus should shift to reducing the shame first. Sometimes that means helping a child find words they cannot access in the moment. It is hard to find your I'm sorry voice right now. I've been there. I will help you. Or acknowledging the difficulty of facing uncomfortable truths. I know it is hard to talk about things we wish were not true. Unchecked shame does not disappear. Over time it can become wired into the body, pushing people to hide parts of themselves for years. Excuse me. Telling the truth builds safety. Another surprising insight is that the truth itself is rarely what scares children. What frightens them more is sensing that something is wrong without understanding it. The book calls this an unformulated experience, a feeling that something is off but without a story to make sense of it. When adults explain what happened, children often feel safer, not more afraid. The task is not to soften reality too much, it is simply to tell the truth. You are right to notice that something happened. Helping a child form a story about events builds something crucial: trust in their own perception and feelings. And sometimes the most honest answer is simply, I do not know. How we communicate matters as much as what we say. Tone, pacing, and attention to the child's experience carry enormous weight. Connection before correction. Another theme running through these chapters is the idea that connection fuels good behavior. The pattern looks like this: connection, feeling better, behaving better. One practical idea is something called play no phone, PNP time. Just 10 to 15 minutes of one-on-one time where the phone disappears and the child chooses the activity. The adult enters the child's world, narrating the play, mirroring the action, and being present rather than directing. Another example is what the author calls emotional vaccination, building regular skills before difficult moments arise. And when things go wrong, which they inevitably will, the repair matters even more than the mistake. A helpful repair process might look like this: reflect on what happened, acknowledge the child's experience, say what you will do differently next time, stay curious together. When children do not listen, sometimes children simply refuse to cooperate, especially when transitioning from something fun to something less fun. The instinct may be to push harder, but the book suggests starting by acknowledging the child's experience. Yes, it is really hard to stop doing something fun. From there, humor and playfulness can shift the dynamic. A silly statement such as, I found your listening skills hiding under the couch, can reset the moment more effectively than escalating pressure. Even role reversal games, letting the child be the adult for 5 minutes, can restore cooperation by giving them a sense of agency. Tantrums are not a failure. Tantrums are often treated as something to eliminate, but the book reframes them as part of healthy development. A tantrum can mean, I know what I want even though someone else said no. That ability, wanting something strongly and expressing it, is not a flaw. It is a capability we do not want to erase. The challenge for the parent is to hold two truths at the same time. The parent is allowed to set limits. The child is allowed to feel big emotions about those limits. Naming the wish and validating the magnitude of the feeling can help a child move through the storm. When tantrums become explosive, in more intense situations when safety becomes an issue, the focus shifts. A child in an explosive tantrum is often in a biological threat state. Their nervous system is in fight or flight mode. Teaching or reasoning does not work at that moment. Instead, the parent's role becomes containment and safety. I will not let you hit. Clear, calm authority matters. Not pleading, not negotiating, simply holding the boundary. After the situation ends, that is when storytelling helps again. Walking through what happened together helps the child understand their own experience. Sibling rivalry and the myth of fairness. One final idea that stayed with me concerns siblings. Trying to make everything perfectly fair can backfire. When fairness becomes the focus, children begin constantly comparing themselves to each other. Scorekeeping replaces self-discovery. Instead, the goal is helping children orient inward. What do I want? If one child had ice cream with the parent earlier in the day, the solution is not necessarily to replicate the same experience for another child. Instead, the child might imagine their own special outing. The lesson becomes less about equality and more about individual paths. Reading these chapters left me with a simple but profound shift. Instead of asking, how do I get my child to behave better? A better question might be, what story might be hiding behind this behavior? And perhaps even more importantly, how can I strengthen our connection so that the behavior takes care of itself? This is your moment. Take command and show us the path. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please check out more interesting content on our website, emberhart.com. Take care. Until next time.